Get in the game.
Closed captioning provided by Auric 8-pound upright vacuum.
Looking for a lightweight vacuum that's really powerful? Try my Auric XL free for 30 days. Nothing gets by an Auric.
Tomorrow night, more on the condition of Francis and the condition of President Clinton. Right now, it's time for Newsnight. Aaron Brown stands by in New York. Well, I bet you're glad this week is over.
Yeah, I'll admit to that. I'm pretty glad this week is over, though it's kind of ending ugly, isn't it?
Boy, weird.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's the world we live in, Aaron. You never know.
Yes, it is. You had a good week this week, Larry. Thank you.
Thanks,
and
Aaron.
Have a good weekend. Good evening again, everyone. Good to be back at our normal time. The Friday before Labor Day should offer nothing more newsy than a story on travel plans and nothing more grim than the gentle depression that comes from summer's end. Not tonight, not nearly. In Florida, it is about waiting and hoping. Francis is doing a slow walk toward the coast. In New York, in a hospital there, it is about waiting and hoping also. Former President Bill Clinton waiting for heart surgery, hoping it goes well, and no doubt doing some thinking about mortality, his own. And in Russia, a truly unspeakable horror, what someone today called their 9/11. 200 dead, many of them children, hostages of yet another group with a cause but no soul, no heart, and no decency. Any one of these stories could have well led the program tonight or started the whip. We'll begin with the storm in Melbourne, Florida. Tonight, CNN's Anderson Cooper. So, Anderson, a headline from you.
Aaron, as you said, the east coast of Florida is waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for Hurricane Francis. This storm has slowed, it has weakened, but it still threatens a powerful punch. Aaron?
Anderson, thank you. We'll get to you quickly tonight. On to Orlando, where there's a been there, done that, and don't want to do it again feeling. CNN's Jonathan Freed on that side of things. So, John, a headline from you.
Well, Aaron, people here in Orlando are calling it mind-blowing. That's the word that they're using. They say it does not make sense to them that they're being threatened by another storm so soon after Charlie.
Jonathan, logic doesn't have a whole lot to do with the weather, does it? Thank you. Next to southern Russia, where the hostage standoff at a local school ended horribly today. CNN's Matthew Chance is there. Matt, a headline tonight.
Thanks, Aaron. In a day of confusion and tragedy here in Beslan as that three-day hostage siege around school number 1 comes to a violent and bloody end. Hundreds are killed and injured. The president of Russia has come to Beslan within the last hour or so to show his sympathy for the people of this town in their time of grief.
Matt, thank you. We'll get to you pretty quick tonight, too. And back home, former President Clinton, as we said, faces heart surgery, bypass surgery. CNN's Elizabeth Cohen tonight on the story and the procedure and the headline.
When Bill Clinton has his bypass surgery, what can he expect in the operating room and in the recovery room? And what lifelong changes will he need to make now that he has heart disease? Aaron?
Elizabeth, thank you. We'll get back to you in the rest shortly. Also coming up on the program tonight, a unique and personal look at President Bush, from the moments that make the man to the man that makes the moment the moment. Also, the stories you will read about tomorrow. Newsnight will give you morning papers at the end of the hour, and this is Friday no matter what the news, and so we'll throw in a tabloid or two as well. All that and more in the hour ahead. We begin tonight with the hurricane weakening a bit, slowing a bit, but still big enough and bad enough, say the experts, to justify the largest evacuation in the history of the state of Florida. Yesterday, they told us to expect landfall by tonight. But hurricanes do what hurricanes do, and this one is taking its sweet time. The better for people to get while the getting is good. We begin tonight with CNN's Anderson Cooper.
If you're on a barrier island or in a low-lying area and you haven't left, now's the time to do so.
As Hurricane Francis battered the Bahamas, Florida braced for the huge storm's arrival sometime on Saturday. Already winds and waves are picking up along the Florida coast. Governor Jeb Bush worries that Francis could be even more destructive than Hurricane Charlie, which did billions of dollars worth of damage just 3 weeks ago.
The storm, unlike Charlie and others in the past, will be with us for a long, long while because of its the speed. So as it hits the coast, it will take a long while for it to leave Florida. which means that there's going to be a lot of rain, a lot of sustained winds over the inland areas of our state.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency is bringing in 3 times as many relief workers as it did for Charlie, putting out calls for crews from as far away as Seattle. Despite the extensive preparations, FEMA's Michael Brown has this warning.
Be prepared to take care of yourself. Hurricane Francis is so large that in some cases it might be several hours or a couple of days before first responders can get to you.
Mandatory evacuation orders are in effect for parts of 16 Florida counties, and voluntary evacuations are in effect for 5 more. They are the largest evacuations in state history. Officials say about 2.5 million people live in those areas. The American Red Cross, preparing for its largest natural disaster response ever, opened 82 shelters. Thousands of displaced residents have already moved in. Others were staying with friends or relatives, and still others were hitting the road. There were long lines at gas stations, and some ran out of fuel. Near Valdosta, Georgia, a few miles north of the Florida state line, Interstate 75 was jammed with vehicles.
We're going to head east over to Charleston, South Carolina, wherever out of the storm's path, and so we can go back home and try to get back home and see what's left of our house.
Aaron, I'm now in Melbourne Beach, which is a barrier island about an hour or so drive south and east of Orlando. The storm was supposed to hit here directly. Of course, not much has happened as it was supposed to happen. It has dropped 2 categories in the last 24 hours. It is now just a little bit above 110 miles an hour, and it has slowed dramatically here. No one can really tell you when it is going to hit or exactly where. There's really nothing left to do but wait at this point, Aaron.
Just tell me how, since you got there, the weather has changed.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really only in the last hour that the winds have picked up noticeably. I mean, today, frankly, was kind of a lovely day. It was brisk. The sun was shining. The sky was blue. We just had a smattering of rain. The winds now are becoming a little bit uncomfortable, but it is nothing like what one would expect. I haven't spent many. I've been in like maybe 3 hurricanes in my life. It is not what one would expect from such a major hurricane.
Yes, well, we've all chased these things in this business about this time of year. Be safe down there. Don't do anything nuts, okay? Anderson Cooper out in Florida tonight. Got a whole crew of people down there, and we wish them all safety tonight. With us now from AccuWeather in State College, Pennsylvania, is Joe Bustardi, who certainly has seen his share of hurricanes over the years. What can you tell us, what dare you tell us at this point about the track of the hurricane, where it will make land, and when it will make land?
Well, first of all, we want to, AccuWeather.com, we want to let people know there's nothing mysterious about hurricanes compared to blizzards or cold waves or any other weather event. They're a product of the weather pattern that produces them. On our site, we've been talking for a couple days about this particular system slowing down and weakening. We said it would not hit like Charlie, would be a weakening system, but still a formidable and major hurricane. Picture's worth 1,000 words, Aaron. What's going on is this. You see all this cloudiness shooting out here to the northeast? It is pumping heat into this upper air high pressure system here and helping it to build and making this storm come to the northwest right now very, very slowly. What is also going on is you can see the spread of clouds more and more into the northwest, and what will happen is this upper high will get over top of it and eventually turn it into the Florida coast. Even at that, there's some uncertainty. We think it's late tomorrow night or tomorrow night into early Sunday morning. Landfall occurs between West Palm Beach and Cape Canaveral, and it continues northwestward and then eventually on up into Georgia. And flooding rains are going to be a major problem with this. So we are taking a stand. I want to explain one more little uncertainty. When it gets to the coast, it may try to jog northward some because of the frictional effects of the coastline. What happens is the eye wall tries to stay out over the water for a little while. So there are some uncertainties, but there's no uncertainty about the end game with this storm. It's a formidable major hurricane, and flooding is going to be a major problem all the way into the Tennessee Valley and lower Appalachians before it's all said and done.
Okay, let me try and do a couple quick ones. If you can keep your answers quick, that'll help. Are we more concerned, do you think, at this point about the rain than we are the wind?
No, we're equally concerned about both, but once the wind dies down, we'll be more concerned about the rain.
And the wind dies down as it makes landfall?
Well, yes, it dies down at the core, but this storm is so big that the outside bands of the storm will remain stronger relative to the inside bands of the storm. So it may be the kind of thing where if the storm's near Orlando, they're going to get wind gusts 60, 70 miles an hour, but they're getting it at Jacksonville and perhaps Tampa also.
Does the slowing that it's done tell us anything about the intensity of the storm, or is that just the behavior of this particular storm and it's irrelevant to anything else?
No, it is very relative. Big storms, when they slow down, it's like having a horse that's eating all the grass in an area. It doesn't have anything more to eat, so it can't eat anymore. It has no more fuel. What happens is it causes upwelling, and the water cools underneath it. So big storms that slow down weaken. The smaller storms that slow down, because they're smaller to begin with, doesn't affect them that much. These hurricanes need to keep moving 12, 14 miles an hour and getting fresh, warm water underneath them to continue to develop. They need a perfect situation to develop the perfect storm.
And finally, as quickly as you can, is it likely that it will get stronger or not?
It'll get a little bit stronger probably over the Gulf Stream. We may see the pressure drop a little bit, the winds ramp up a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that big part of the storm like that is what the nature, the characteristic of this storm is going to be. More like Isabel, the big storm, rather than Charlie, the storm with just a solid punch in a small place.
Joe, thank you. Nice job tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Over at AccuWeather in State College, Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. On to southern Russia now and the ugliness there, and this is truly the most devastating story of the day and in a while. A hostage-taking by Islamic terrorists, some of them reportedly from Arab countries. It certainly held every possibility of becoming a bloodbath, and today it became just that. Could it have been even worse? Numerically, absolutely. In every other way, just by looking at the faces of the survivors, it is hard to imagine how. Gillian Mannion, a correspondent for Britain's ITN, was just outside the school when the chaos and the carnage began.
It wasn't clear how it began, but by noon the battle to save the child hostages was underway. Russian armor moved towards the school, and troops advanced down streets and alleyways. Very soon the first of the children were free, as the sounds of fighting continue to echo around the town. The child hostages were in a state of shock after more than 2 days of real nightmare. These children had been held at gunpoint, with explosive charges placed among them. Some of them had apparently been used by the rebels as human shields. Now they were saved, but there was still fear in their eyes. Some were injured and were rushed away in ambulances and civilian cars. Many of them just looked lost and bewildered. One young girl I managed to talk to briefly gave a glimpse of the horror that she had survived.
In the room where we were held, they had 18 big bombs hanging over us from the ceiling. One woman terrorist blew herself up with a suicide belt right among us, and another one was pushed outside before she could do the same thing.
Then she was quickly led away. Some lucky children were immediately reunited with their families. And as more and more hostages came out, many of them the parents and teachers who had also been held, there was utter pandemonium. But while many were saved, the battle at the school went on. The building was soon on fire, and there were reports that part of the roof had fallen in. As the first bodies came out, the question was how many of the hostages had lost their lives. Inside the school courtyard, an extraordinary spectacle. Russian emergency teams trying to work while fighting continued to rage on the other side of the building, where some of the Chechen rebels were still holding out. At times, gunfire was continuous. Near us, a Russian soldier was hit. His friend helped him away to safety. Firemen worked to put out the blaze in the school's gym, where many of the hostages had been held and where the roof had collapsed. Our cameraman Sasha Lomakin managed to get inside. There appeared to be a large number of charred corpses lying in the ruins. There is unfortunately no doubt that many innocents died in the murderous chaos at the school. Bodies are still arriving at the town's morgues and some have been identified. Already there is the sight that will become more frequent in the coming days of relatives in despair over the loss of loved ones. It's not yet clear if the fighting broke out by accident or if there could have been another way. But it is certain that suicidal terrorists have delivered another savage blow to Russia.
That was ITN's Julian Mannion. This all came undone, understatement, shortly after President Putin said his first priority was to ensure the safety of the hostages. It happened at the end of an especially bloody period by any standard. In the space of 2 weeks, a pair of airliners blown from the sky, bombings in Moscow, then this, complete with reports tonight coming in of a number of hostage takers, 10 perhaps, were not Russian or Chechen, but Arab. Quite a bit for the Russian president to deal with tonight. He arrived at the scene earlier today. For the latest, we now go to CNN's Matthew Chance. Matthew, what, if anything, has President Putin said about this since it ended?
Well, he hasn't said a great deal because I think, like the rest of the country, he's in a good deal of shock himself. He's arrived here in Beslan to visit with local officials and to visit the hospitals, which have very much become the focus of the emergency operations at the moment, with hundreds of people inside the hospitals, not just in Beslan but in the region. The government have set aside 1,000 beds to treat the casualties. So that gives us an indication of the scale of this catastrophe, this small town in southern Russia. But certainly Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, will face a great deal of angry questions from local people here, many of whom we've spoken to blame the Russian government for allowing this to happen. Vladimir Putin, as you say, had gone out publicly and said, because of the fact there are children, so many of them inside the school, which is right behind me here, he would do everything in his power to make sure this ended peacefully. That, of course, couldn't have been further from what actually happened. It seems that hundreds of people were either killed or injured inside the school when whatever happened, and an 8-hour gun battle, which involved explosions and the building catching fire and long-running firefights between Russian security forces and these hostage takers inside, resulted in so many deaths, so many injuries. The latest casualty figures we have come to us from the Interfax news agency, which is a semi-official news agency here, quoting local health officials saying at least 200 people have been killed. The Russian Emergency Situations Ministry saying that 704 people have been released from the siege, but not necessarily unscathed. Many, if not all of those people, are actually being treated for injuries in those hospitals, some of them extremely serious, some of them will require major surgery. So you can imagine the pandemonium inside these small hospitals in the region as they struggle to save more lives, Aaron.
Okay, Matthew, let me run down a couple of things as quickly as you and I can do that. It is, in reading the reports coming out of there, it is not clear to me what in fact caused the shooting to begin today, but it sounds like there was some deal to allow bodies to be removed, and in the process of that, you'll forgive the expression, all hell broke loose. But that wasn't necessarily started by the Russian government. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, it's a very confused picture, but from the people we've spoken to actually witnessed it, we've managed to build up some kind of idea about what happened. And you're right, it seemed that the negotiations were going pretty smoothly. There'd been a sort of ceasefire agreement agreed to allow the Russian government to go in and to clear away some of the dead bodies that had been initially killed when the school was taken over. They were in the process of doing that when suddenly these two enormous explosions rang out, whether they were caused by the Russian government or whether they were caused by the rebels inadvertently setting off explosives they've strewn around the classrooms and the playgrounds here. We don't know. What we do know is that in the chaos that resulted in these explosions, a number of hostages tried to break for freedom. The rebels opened up on them, we're told. The Russian security forces to return fire. A number of them were brought to safety, but the gun battle that followed, as I say, lasted the best part of 8 hours, and in it, most people inside the building were either killed outright or are now being treated for their injuries in the hospitals in the area, Aaron.
Now, the last, setting aside, it sounds almost ridiculous, setting aside the two airplane bombings, there was the hostage taking at the theater back a year or so ago. That also ended badly, with a tremendous loss of life at least. After that happened, What did the Russian government do in Chechnya? Did they go in and try and wipe out rebel areas? Did they crack down? Were they what?
Well, I mean, you know, this is really an indictment of Vladimir Putin's strategy in Chechnya, which has been very hardline right the way since 1999 when he was brought to power. What he's been doing there is cracking down in a very tough fashion on the Chechen rebels, going in hard with the Russian military, doing whatever he can to really reassert Russian control there. That's continued to this day, but the very fact is that Chechnya itself is still a very unstable and insecure environment, and it has produced this kind of virulent terrorist movement which is producing these hostage sieges that we've witnessed over the course of the last few years, the aircraft bombings, possibly the work of Chechen terrorists as well as the spate of suicide bombings that has savaged the people of Moscow and other cities in Russia as well. And so Vladimir Putin is facing a real challenge here to his actual strategy that he's been pursuing in the Chechen Republic, Aaron.
Well, we'll watch to see what he does next. It doesn't sound like his personality to pull back. Matthew, thank you. Matthew Chance. Tonight, ahead on the program, the president says he wants 4 more years. The former president gets candid about his health in an exclusive interview with Larry King. Also, the race for the White House. President Bush, John Kerry turn up the heat as the campaign enters its final 2 months. We take a break from New York. This is Newsnight.
At Next to Nothing Rent-A-Car, our slogan is, if you want a car for next to nothing, get in line. Do we offer you services that get you to your vacation faster? No. We let you use that time for more important things, like catching up on your reading. After all, who do you think we are, Hertz? Here you go.
Hertz offers both #1 Club Express and Never Lost, so you can reserve faster and get to your vacation faster. It's your trip. Rent wisely.
If you're thinking about refinancing your mortgage to lower your monthly payments or to cash out equity, get the $395 flat fee home loan from Ditech.com. Just call 1-800-DITECH-1 or apply online at Ditech.com.
Once again, more Americans trust CNN than any other news organization. Another reason why CNN is the most trusted name in news.
Sprint is having the biggest Labor Day sale in our 23-year history, with thousands of items in stock. Take advantage of 40 to 50% off all furniture, and for the first time, $1 million of accessories will be 10 to 50% off. Plus, get 6 months, no interest, no payments. And remember, both Sprint stores are always open Sunday 1 to 5. For the largest selection in Tennessee and 40 to 50% off all furniture, Sprint's is the place to be. Sale ends 8 p.m. Labor Day.
Hey, do you want to know what it's like in the locker room after the game? I know what it's like. I know you know what it's like, but I want the fans to know what it's like. Join me, George Plaster. And me, Brad Hopkins. And Bubba Miller for a look at all the Titans home games beyond the sidelines.
I'll give an up-close personal view of some of my teammates, Titan staff, and much more.
Plus, Vanderbilt highlights, action from MTSU, and more.
See you on demand.
No, it's Plaster on demand, only on Comcast.
Stay with CNN this weekend for continuous live coverage of Hurricane Francis.
Bill Clinton is in a New York City hospital tonight. He awaits bypass surgery on his heart. The former president, who's 58, had no history of heart disease, though his love of fast food and his battles with weight tempted fate. In many respects, he's lucky. He had warning signs. Many people don't. They simply have a heart attack and die. His symptoms started the other day, chest pains and shortness of breath. Went to the doctor. The doctor sent him home, and then they brought him back to the hospital near his home in Westchester, New York, north of the city. Those doctors performed more tests, and after those tests, they sent him to New York Presbyterian Hospital in Manhattan early today and said surgery early next week. Mr. Clinton, being Mr. Clinton, was on the phone with Larry King tonight.
I feel really blessed, because a lot of people who have a heart attack never get any advance warning, as Dr. Frist said, or Senator Frist said. I've had some difficulty ever since I got out of the White House in getting my distance up and running, and I just had a feeling a couple of days ago I had to have it checked when I finally got some tightness in my chest. And I hadn't done any exercise. It's the first time that ever happened to me, and we did this angiogram and found out I had blockage that was too significant to open and put a stent in. We had to do the whole surgery, so I'm trying to get my head in the game.
But you look so great. You'd lost so much weight. Didn't you think that if you had a problem, it was over?
Well, I'd also been treating the high cholesterol, and then I stopped taking that medicine because I got my cholesterol down low. And I had, in the past, had a little blood pressure problem, which I treated, and then I got it down. But, you know, some of this is genetic, and I may have done some damage in those years when I was too careless about what I ate. So, for whatever reason, I've got a problem, and I've got a chance to deal with it, and I feel that I really got to, let me just say this, Republicans aren't the only people that want 4 more years here.
That was former President Bill Clinton on the phone a short time ago with Larry King on Larry King Live. About 13 million people suffer from heart disease, and for many, surgery is the treatment. Thousands of bypass surgeries are performed every year, and while they're hardly routine, after all, this is open heart surgery, the risk of death during those surgeries is quite low. Here's CNN's Elizabeth Cohn.
A few hours in the operating room, a few days in the hospital, and several weeks of recovery at home. That's what Bill Clinton has in front of him. First, the surgery. After opening the chest cavity, doctors take healthy blood vessels, usually from the legs, and attach them to the heart, allowing blood to bypass the blockages in diseased arteries. The arteries rarely clog up again. In fact, 90% of people who have bypass surgery have clear arteries 20 years later. According to the American Heart Association, the death rate for this surgery, for someone who's young and relatively healthy like Clinton, is less than 1%. After the surgery,
typically he'll be out of bed by the next day, starting to walk a little bit, and hopefully out the door of the hospital by 4 days, engaging in cardiac rehabilitation program, and feeling pretty normal, we would hope, by about 2 months after the surgery.
But the recovery doesn't end there. Doctors give bypass patients strict orders for the rest of their lives.
He will have to be on an appropriate diet, lose weight, be physically active.
The recovery isn't just physical.
We know very well from scientific studies that it's not uncommon for individuals to suffer some degree of emotional trauma related to the procedure.
Depression and anxiety set in sometimes after bypass surgery because the patient all of a sudden is faced with his or her mortality.
This is a major life event. This is a major wake-up call.
And because patients like Clinton are told to reduce stress, sometimes type A people like Clinton miss being in the center of things, on the go all the time, and have a hard time following doctors' orders to slow down.
He's got to recognize that number one right now has got to be his own health and recovery from this procedure.
Former President Clinton is one of the lucky ones. Many people with sudden chest pain have heart attacks and die immediately. They don't get a second chance. Elizabeth Cohen, CNN, Atlanta.
Dr. Roger Blumenthal is the director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Prevention of Heart Disease, also the national spokesperson for the American Heart Association. He joins us from Baltimore tonight. We're pleased to have him with us. I have a question about how this was diagnosed. He goes and sees the doctors, and they presumably do some sort of stress test, and they say, that looks okay, no problems there. They send him home, and then they decide, or he decides, to go back, and they decide to do an angiogram. Angiogram is a pretty invasive procedure. Is this an unusual sequence that happened?
Well, Aaron, first off, I'm proud to represent the American Heart Association, and thank you for the opportunity. We really don't know if Mr. Clinton had a stress test on this particular occasion. We do know that he had significant symptoms of chest pain and perhaps some shortness of breath. And the doctors did decide to do an angiogram, which gives us a roadmap of the heart arteries. It was based on that roadmap of the heart arteries that it was decided that because of the number of blockages that the former president should undergo bypass surgery. If there had been 1 or 2 blockages, doctors would most likely have recommended angioplasty and a stenting procedure.
Okay, just a shorthand here. The angioplasty is they do the angiogram. They stick a tube basically up your leg, through your chest, into your heart, and they inflate a balloon, more or less, and clear that artery out, right?
Exactly. The angioplasty is the balloon procedure to push open the fat and cholesterol that's clogging the artery, and the stenting refers to a metal scaffolding that helps to hold the artery open. Approximately 80 to 90% of stenting procedures are very successful long-term in keeping the artery open.
But in this case, that's not an option because is it that there are too many arteries that are clogged, or that the arteries that are clogged are too clogged?
Well, we really don't know, Aaron.
Okay.
My suspicion is that there are multiple blockages based on what we've heard, and doctors felt that it would be safer actually to do bypass surgery than to try the multiple stenting procedures.
Are cardiologists absolutely certain, for example, that stress is a factor?
Well, the American Heart Association has really led the research for many decades on this, and we know that the major risk factors for heart disease are increasing age, high blood pressure, increased cholesterol, cigarette smoking, poor dietary habits, diabetes, and lack of exercise. Emotional stress is clearly a strong indicator that someone may be prone to developing heart disease, but it's been very hard to quantify how much stress really contributes to a heart attack.
And finally, anybody, a guy who is in, like Mr. Clinton, who seems to be in pretty good health and very active, any reason why he can't go back to a normal, active life, assuming the surgery goes fine?
We expect that Mr. Clinton will do very well. He has about a 95% chance of going through the surgery without any significant complication, and a 5% chance of having a moderate to a severe complication. We hope that after his surgery he'll become a poster child for prevention, and we would welcome Mr. Clinton and perhaps someone from the other party, such as Mr. Cheney, to be spokespeople for the American Heart Association, because clearly heart disease strikes both parties and both political persuasions.
Doc, one of the things I'm sure of is heart disease knows no politics. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it very much. Coming up on the program still, the day after bounce, fresh from the Republican convention, President Bush gets a bump in the polls, and a pretty good one. And John Kerry hits back on the campaign trail. Will the tough talk last? But more importantly for him, will it help? Around the world, this is Newsnight.
Has your overweight dog lost a step or two? Pedigree's weight loss formula can help. With the most protein and lowest carbs of any dry dog food, it's designed to help dogs safely lose 10% of their body weight and get them back up to speed. Pedigree weight loss and weight maintenance to help keep the weight off. 2 simple steps to a healthy dog.
Medical news from Centrum Silver. A report in a leading medical journal recommends a multivitamin for all adults to help reduce the risk of heart disease and certain cancers. And the brand recommended most by doctors for those over 50, age-adjusted, Centrum Silver.
A cool head. And a new copier. $2,500.
Dedication.
And a coffee maker. $69.
A sense of humor.
And a mop. $17. Having what it takes to run a business? Priceless.
To see what the Advana MasterCard Business Card can do for your business, visit our website or call 1-800-ADVANA to apply.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see.
HP Services and Technology help the world's great companies face, manage, and love change. HP. Invent.
So, what's the weekend hold in store for you? Ask your doctor if a free sample of prescription Cialis is right for you. Cialis. Are you ready?
CNN Sunday. Hold on to your imagination.
The chances that there isn't life anywhere out there are virtually zero.
Science fiction becomes science fact.
We had a habitable environment on another planet.
In just 1 hour, your view of the universe could change forever.
We are limited by what we understand.
Trust CNN's Miles O'Brien for one show that's out of this world.
You've never seen anything like it.
An all-new CNN Presents asks, is anybody out there? CNN Sunday, 8 Eastern.
CNN Sunday, live from Florida. Francis batters the coast. CNN reporters track the storm. And Rudy Giuliani rounds up the convention and tells Wolf his plans to commemorate September 11th 3 years later. Trust Wolf in late edition. CNN Sunday, noon Eastern.
When it's 10 o'clock, trust NewsNight with Aaron Brown. With journalists from around the world. It's the only network newscast at 10 o'clock. NewsNight with Aaron Brown, America's 10 p.m. newscast. CNN Monday.
Last night on the program, we pushed CNN's Bill Schneider out on a limb. Asked me anything, he said, except how much of a bounce in the polls the president will get out of the convention. So I asked him, how much of a bounce will the president get out of the convention? And he graciously said about 5 points. And then he sent me an email this morning and walked by my office tonight to point out he nailed it. Time magazine poll of likely voters released today, but taken before the president's speech, shows 52% would vote for the president if the election were held today, 41% for Senator Kerry, the first meaningful lead for either candidate since the campaign began. All of this if the election were held today, which it's not, even though both major candidates have started campaigning like there's no tomorrow. 2 reports tonight, of course. First, John King with the president.
The signs reinforce one message of the president's post-convention push, painting his opponent as on the wrong side of gay marriage and gun control, another.
If you voted against the Bipartisan Defense of Marriage Act, which my predecessor signed, you are not the candidate of conservative values. If you consistently vote against the rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment, as my opponent has, you are not the candidate of conservative values.
Just 60 days left, and cautious post-convention optimism in the Bush campaign. One priority now, especially in small-town America, is to paint Democrat John Kerry as a liberal far left of the mainstream. Mr. Bush promises to simplify the tax code if given a second term, and he mocks a central Kerry promise.
Yeah, tax the rich, you know what that means. They dodge, you pay.
The new banners are for backup. As Mr. Bush campaigned in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Iowa, he cast his opponent as too indecisive to take command of the war on terror.
Only 4 United States senators voted to authorize the use of force and then voted against funding our troops. 2 of those senators were my opponent and his running mate.
The president sought a silver lining in new economic data that Democrats suggest is a major Bush weakness, a modest addition of just 200,000 jobs the past 2 months.
The national unemployment rate is down to 5.4%. That is nearly a full point below the rate last summer.
The Bush campaign launched a new round of ads in key battleground states, hoping to protect and perhaps build on what aides predict will be a modest convention bounce. One key test there, whether the president for the first time can crack 50% support against Senator Kerry. John King, CNN, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
And the president did exactly that, cracked that 50% level today. John Kerry hit the campaign trail as well. He was in Ohio, so was CNN's Joe Johns.
At his second large rally in Ohio in less than a day, Senator John Kerry was still unloading on Republicans with newer, sharper attack lines for questioning his fitness to serve.
I think misleading your nation into war makes you unfit to lead this nation. I think that doing nothing when millions of Americans are losing their jobs over 4 years and doing nothing makes you unfit to lead this nation. I think that leaving 45 million Americans without any health insurance at all and allowing 5 million more Americans to lose their health insurance in the last 4 years makes you unfit to lead this nation.
Kerry also set his sights Friday on the latest unemployment report.
My friends, at the rate that this administration is creating jobs, you're not going to have a net plus 1 job in the state of Ohio till the year 2011.
He argues the increase was not enough to keep up with population growth.
I don't think this is something to celebrate. I think it's something to get to work on.
And the campaign was using job-stressed residents of battleground Ohio to try to make the point that the quality of the new jobs created is equally as important as the quantity.
A lot of the jobs are out there now. I made more money 25 years ago.
As for that poll suggesting the president has a big lead, the Kerry campaign says it doesn't believe it. They say even if he does get a bounce, they think the race will be back at equilibrium in a couple weeks. Aaron, back to you.
Joe, thank you very much. Still to come on the program tonight, Hurricane Francis, as we told you, coming into Florida, a little slower and weaker than a day ago, but nothing to mess around with. Take a break first. This is NewsNight on CNN.
You do something to me, something that simply mystifies me. Let me live neath your spell. You do that, voodoo that you do so well.
At the heart of the most extraordinary places, you'll find the most extraordinary hotels, Renaissance hotels and resorts.
It can think for itself, strike fear in the hearts of hackers, and laugh in the face of disaster. It can transform itself, grow into whatever the future demands, work virtually anywhere, and propel entire companies, industries, and economies forward. Can your network do this? It can, with the world's networking company, AT&T.
This is the Cooper's long-awaited getaway. There's only one problem. This isn't the Coopers.
Everything in size 8?
It's the Vaughns who stole their wallet, spending their money. Presenting the American Express Travel Funds card, the safety of travelers' checks in a convenient card. It's prepaid. If it's stolen, your balance is replaced fast. Plus, it works at ATMs. It's your vacation.
Oh, yeah!
Why lose it? The Travel Funds card from American Express.
See this pill? I helped invent it. It helps keep people alive, and that's why I do this after all. We had just started working on this when my father's heart problem started. It usually takes about 15 years to get a new drug ready. This one took almost 20. When it takes that long, two things keep you inspired. The millions you're going to help, and the one you couldn't.
GlaxoSmithKline. Today's medicines finance tomorrow's miracles.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
As we reported at the top, the National Weather Service tonight downgraded Hurricane Francis to a Category 2 storm, but an especially large one, wider across than Charlie or Hurricane Andrew 12 years ago. Right now, the center of the hurricane, about 200 miles southeast of lower Florida, the Keys, moving at just about 4 miles an hour. So it is just creeping along in the Atlantic, although the eye isn't expected to make landfall at the earliest until tomorrow afternoon and maybe even later. Strong winds have already begun lashing parts of the state. So it is there, it is coming, it is building. Close to 15 million Floridians live in areas under hurricane watches and warnings tonight, many still digging out from Hurricane Charlie. That part of the story from Orlando and CNN's Jonathan Freed.
Any other hurricane season, Mike Galt would just be cleaning up after last month's storm. But this isn't any other hurricane season.
It split the chimney apart. It sucked the flute right out of the chimney.
The Galt family is now boarding up its windows,
to take another major hit.
Bracing for Francis, the second major storm in just 3 weeks.
It's like, well, what's left for it to take?
When Hurricane Charlie hit, Mike and Jody Galt and their 3 children were huddled in this bedroom closet and can now tell you what $10,000 in roof damage sounds like.
The shingles were being torn off one by one. It sounded like 100 soldiers up there. It's like you could hear every single shingle at each moment being ripped off the roof. That was the scariest.
My daughter's bedroom is here, just to the left of this boarded up window. And the closet's actually collapsed inside, and it was just like, it was like a stream.
This whole part of the ceiling just collapsed. It was so wet, it just fell in.
This Orlando community is still littered with debris from Charlie, and many people, like the Galts, haven't even settled with their insurance companies yet. Francis is just fueling frustration. With Francis bearing down now, is it hard for you to imagine a time when your house is going to look normal again?
Now I'm probably looking at a year.
Mike Galt has decided to ride out the coming storm at home, determined to protect his property. His family is equally determined to protect him.
I don't want him to be alone. I can't leave him.
So the Galts are praying that bedroom closet will keep them safe one more time.
I've had my moments where I've had some silent tears, but I have faith and everything's going to be okay.
Now, Aaron, this town is already starting to shut down. We are here across the street from SeaWorld. SeaWorld is shut down, Universal is closed, and the big one, Disney, takes a lot to shut Disney down. It, too, has closed its gates. Aaron?
Well, it's going to be a few days before all this passes. Jonathan, be safe down there. Thank you very much. Jonathan Freed. Again, it's expected to make land at earliest midday tomorrow, probably later than that. Lots of rain, fair amount of wind, but most of it rain before it's all over, and it's going to take some time. Ahead on Newsnight, we'll have more of President Clinton's exclusive interview with Larry King, or conversation. He gets candid about his health and his future, and we'll get some morning papers in and throw a tabloid or two as well on a day that hasn't offered much to laugh about. Break first. This is Newsnight.
Moneyline Roundup is brought to you by Bank of America. Higher standards.
Oh, I thought I had more time. Okay, yeah, I can make it. Bye.
Pay 10 bills in under 3 minutes. Online. Free. With our free checking. From Bank of America. Higher standards.
While other mortgage companies are still filling out the paperwork, Ditech.com is busy processing your loan. Right now, you can apply for a second mortgage with a no closing cost option. It's a whole new way to get a mortgage. Ditech.com. Apply online or call 1-800-DITECH-1. Ditech.com. Your mortgage solution delivered.
Circuit City's the place to save on a huge selection of the latest computers. Hurry in today and save $300 on this deluxe E-Machines computer package. It's loaded with an AMD Athlon XP3000 processor, 17-inch flat-screen monitor, DVD burner, and CD-ROM drive, plus a Lexmark color printer, all for just $599.99 after mail-in rebates. Now through Saturday at Circuit City.
Why does the U.S. Olympic team compete with the support of thousands of Gateway PCs? Because serious competitors require serious power. Right now, Gateway can equip you to compete with the all-new 510T, now with double memory, 50% more storage, and a high-speed DVD burner. You'll also get a super-fast Intel Pentium 4 processor with HT technology, a big 17-inch monitor, and our gold medal service and support. And for a limited time, get a free color printer. Call 1-800-GATEWAY now.
A bit earlier in the program, our guest from the American Heart Association said he hoped that after his bypass surgery, President Clinton would become sort of a poster child for the prevention of heart disease and so forth. Already tonight, we can say he's become a poster child for the phone company. He spoke at length with Larry King earlier tonight. Here's a bit more of that exclusive interview.
I feel really blessed, because a lot of people who have a heart attack never get any advance warning, as Dr. Frist said, or Senator Frist said. I've had some difficulty ever since I got out of the White House in getting my distance up and running, and I just had a feeling a couple of days ago I had to have it checked when I finally got some tightness in my chest, and I hadn't done any exercise. It's the first time that ever happened to me, and we did this angiogram and found out I had blockage that was too significant to open and put a stent in. We had to do the whole surgery, so I'm trying to get my head in the game.
But you look so great. You'd lost so much weight. Didn't you think that if you had a problem, it was over?
Well, no, and I'd also been treating the high cholesterol, and then I stopped taking that medicine because I got my cholesterol down low. And I had, in the past, had a little blood pressure problem, which I treated, and then I got it down. But, you know, some of this is genetic, and I may have done some damage in those years when I was too careless about what I ate. So, for whatever reason, I've got a problem, and I've got a chance to deal with it, and I feel that I really got to. Let me just say this. Republicans aren't the only people that want 4 more years here.
Well, the whole world is watching. We appreciate you giving us this time. But I must ask this question in all fairness. Are you a little frightened?
Well, not as much as I thought I'd be. You know, I don't... I grew up, as you know, in a home where my mother was an anesthetist. I knew doctors. I knew surgeons. I think the first time I ever saw any serious surgery, I was about 12 years old. I know what's involved, and I know what the options are. I mean, I think that there's virtually, my blockage is so substantial, I think if I don't do this, there's virtually a 100% chance I'll have a heart attack. And I've been very lucky. I don't have any heart damage now. If I do the procedure, it's been done now for some few decades, and an enormous number of them have done. You pointed out you've had it. David Letterman's had it. A whole slew of my friends have had it. Without exception, the people I know had good years afterward. I'm just going to have to be really careful. I put about 10 pounds of that weight I lost back on my book tour, and I got to take it off and, you know, just do everything I can to try to keep my cholesterol down, keep my blood pressure down. But I agree with whoever it was that said that we ought to have a lot of these exams, that you got early warning signs that you can get your cholesterol and blood pressure down. That's a big thing. And then at some point, I understand why there's a reluctance to do angiograms. They're invasive surgery. But I aced my stress test 4 or 5 years in a row, every year I was in the White House and every year since. So that's more than 4 or 5 years. So about 10% of the people, for whatever reason, are in good enough health that they just do fine on the stress test and they still have a problem, and I was one of them. So I think if people have a family history there and high cholesterol and high blood pressure, they ought to consider the angiogram, even if they don't have the symptoms I had. That there is some chance of damage there, but it's like 1 in 1,000, and I really think it probably saved my life, and I'm very grateful to my physician, Dr. Bardock, and all the great people in Westchester County who did that, and then these people at Columbia Presbyterian. I feel just grateful. I guess I'm a little scared, but not much. I'm looking forward to it. I want to get back. I want to see what it's like to run 5 miles again.
Thank you for giving us this time.
That was the former president with Larry King, short time ago. I think by the end of the week, he'll know more about bypass surgery than the doctors know about bypass surgery. We'll have morning papers after the break.
Tom, thanks for coming in. We need to talk about a little incident. Where were you next Thursday night?
I'm sorry, what?
Just tell us. Where were you next Thursday night?
I don't know yet. It's only Tuesday, so I haven't really...
I'm growing a little weary of your double talk.
Next Thursday.
Can your security software spot threats before they ever occur? Ours can. Security Solutions from Computer Associates.
Once again, more Americans trust CNN than any other news organization. Another reason why CNN is the most trusted name in news.
At the Dodge Labor Day 10 event, things are moving fast. During Labor Day weekend, get huge deals on the best selection of the remaining 2004 Dodges. Grab the tough Dodge Ram 1500 Quad Cab with 0% financing plus $2,500 in bonus cash for a total savings of up to $8,100. Or grab huge cash allowances on the rugged Dakota or the roomy Durango, plus our 770 powertrain limited warranty. So hurry in for the best selection of 04s during the Dodge Labor Day 10 event.
All units, code blue at the bank downtown.
Is your money just wasting away in a bank savings account?
Next.
Rescue your savings with a new high-yield savings account from Capital One. It's easy. Just call 1-866-91-SAVINGS or go to CapitalOne.com to open an account.
This interest rate's really weak. I knew our rates were too low.
Okay, clear. Let's get it into a Capital One savings account. Stack.
Rescue me!
Open your account and get rates above the national average, guaranteed. Call now and get rates that are twice the national average. A new Capital One high-yield savings account makes banking simple. With our no-hassle service, there are no fees, no minimum balance requirements, and you can easily link with your existing checking account. So call 1-866-91-SAVINGS or go to CapitalOne.com today to open a new Capital One high-yield savings account.
Rescue me!
What's in your wallet?
These are even better than last week's crawfish etouffee with that andouille sausage.
And all that garlic. Hey, guys, doesn't anybody talk about sports anymore?
I thought cooking was a sport.
And we're live, weeknights at 8 on Food Network.
People say I'm obsessed with chicken. True, my family's been in the chicken business for 3 generations. We did develop our own breed of chicken. But obsessed? That's ridiculous.
Purdue, a healthy obsession with chicken.
Stay with CNN this weekend for continuous live coverage of Hurricane Francis.
Okay, time check morning papers from around the country and around the world. A lot of what is powerful in the papers today is really not the words but the pictures, so we'll pay some particular attention to that tonight. International Herald Tribune, hundreds free, scores dead in Russia hostage crisis. Just look at the face of that boy. And this is just one of the most horrific. Those people are nuts, okay? I mean, these are children, right? What have they got to do with anything? Who did they hurt? They got nothing to do with Chechnya. Leave them alone. Death toll in Russia, at least 200, headlines the Washington Times. Commandos move in, rout militants at school. They also put the politics on the front page. Poll sees Bush ahead by 11. Kerry slams Cheney's service. Actually, that would be Kerry slamming Cheney's non-service if you wanted to be technically accurate. The Guardian, a British paper. Just look, the headline doesn't matter. Look at the picture. Look at the picture of that kid. What's he going to think? I mean, man. So if you're wondering, yeah, this thing made me nuts today. I don't get it. The Chicago Sun-Times had the headline exactly right. I wish I had written this today. They slaughtered the children. That's the Chicago Sun-Times headline on this dreadful story. Sweat-stained is the weather in Chicago tomorrow. Going to be hot there. We'll wrap it up in a moment.
A cool head.
Is there paper?
And a new copier. $2,500.
Dinosaur. Dedication.
And a coffee maker. $69. A sense of humor. And a mop. $17. Having what it takes to run a business? Priceless. To see what the MasterCard business card can do for your business, visit our website.
With Celebrex, I will not give in.
I will not give in.
I will not give in to the joint pain of osteoarthritis.
With Celebrex, I can line up my putt.
I can play the long version.
With Celebrex, one pill lasts up to 24 hours. That's one pill, 24 hours. So you can live your life the way you want.
With Celebrex, I will not settle for part-time relief.
Celebrex should not be taken if you've had aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reaction due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines or certain drugs called sulfonamides. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems.
If you're suffering from pain, inflammation, or stiffness, maybe you should stop trying to manage it on your own. Ask your doctor about Celebrex.
With Celebrex, I will not give in.
I will not give in.
Take control with the proven strength of Celebrex.
Is there anything else we can get you, ladies?
No, we're fine.
Variety. Just one more thing to love about Outback, like our juicy Outback Special, Outback Steakhouse.
HP services and technology help the world's great companies face, manage, and love change. HP. Invent.
Closed captioning provided by Auric 8-pound upright vacuum.
Looking for a lightweight vacuum that's really powerful? Try my Auric XL free for 30 days. Nothing gets by an Auric.
I don't get cranked up like that often, and I'm not really apologizing for it, but I probably shouldn't do stuff like that. But, man, these are kids, okay? The good news of the day is the hurricane has calmed down a little bit and is moving pretty slowly, which gives the people in Florida a chance to get out of the way, and hopefully they will do that. Our coverage of that will continue across the weekend. Hope your Labor Day weekend is terrific. We'll see you on Tuesday, but the program's here on Monday. Until then, good night for all of us at NewsNight.
And hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris. The advisory is in now, and Hurricane Francis stays at 105, so still a strong Category 2